Hey, Lux, we're live around the world. Over to you.
Thank you for the cue. With the new music, I was trying to figure out where's that audio cue and we knew it. So it's new music, right? Or am I imagining it?
Yeah, the music didn't start in the one part, and I just put a music bed in the background to keep us all relaxed and chilled, and obviously that didn't work.
No, I got a little too relaxed and chill, so it worked perfectly. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Remember, tens of people are watching us, so...
Yeah, tens of people. Exactly.
Have you actually graduated to the tens? Wow, okay.
We're double digits now.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Quick round of introductions. I'm Lux Narayan, co-founder at StreamAlive. And gosh, we are in our second month now, if I'm counting correctly, but we've been going live every week, giving the illusion of preparation when in fact there is none, just going out here, riffing, talking about things, and hanging out with friends. And speaking of friends, this time around, we're joined by someone who's literally been on the road for a while and therefore hasn't been with us for the last few sessions. Tatiana, welcome back. It's lovely to have you. And since this is your first session, I'm going to pass the ball on to you, request you to introduce yourself, say hello, and then keep passing the ball to everybody else who is visible on screen. And the last person, please talk about the invisible man as well.
Okay, I've got the ball. I've got the ball. Hello, everybody. Tatiana Rodriguez. I have the distinct pleasure of knowing many of the gentlemen in this room, face to face, live, in person, otherwise in real life, but also URL. So many great connections and friendships here, and people whose work I support and appreciate as well. I teach at Rutgers University, so my perspective comes from education, and my whole entire philosophy is to teach beyond the bland and to create meaningful and engaging experiences that students will enjoy and remember. That's the angle that I come from. I love creating sessions that are memorable, are meaningful, and so that's what I will be sharing about today. And I'm going to pass it down to Neil.
Doop. Well, hello. Thank you so much. I wish I had a ball now just to pick. My name is Neil Farmond. I'm a retired IT consultant getting into the video production space, and I help people look better on camera, and working with Martin McKenna on video production like this, and also building a few apps now and again to help people out with production and their workflows. Let me throw it to Saeed.
That was great time. It wasn't the ball, but I tried my best.
That's pretty good.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saeed from Germany, and I am a coach, facilitator, trainer, and awesome human being when it comes to everything that's about how to make online meetings less Zoomish. And please do not switch the camera so I can hand this one to. There he is. Okay. you have to go. Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, awesome. Oh my God.
No one will ever say that I'm outspoken. I'm a retired university professor, and but university professors don't die. They just keep lecturing and lecturing. No. But taught at CSU Monterey Bay, but have been in the video teleconferencing business literally since the 70s. And it hasn't changed. You want to make sure your participants or your students are engaged. And that's what brings me to this wonderful group.
Beautiful. And I think regular viewers will note that there is one significant person missing, which is Martin McKenna, who is behind the scenes today. Martin, if you want to play voice of... Yes, okay. Is he down or up? Is he going to be voice of God? Or he's down there somewhere?
He's just voices somewhere. He's the voice
I'm just hiding
somewhere, I think.
All right, Martin, thank you for... this is the first time I think Martin's not on screen and pushing buttons when the rest of us are. But hey, we keep trying something new each time. And speaking of new, as some of you might know, we end each session with, oops, did we decide a topic for next week? And then sometime in the middle in a Slack channel, a topic gets born. But this time, we actually had a little more time to prepare, even if we did not. But when we told Tatiana, welcome back, she said, hey, can we talk about, opening sessions and how we start sessions? Because that's what I'm going to do starting this week, since it's back to school week here in the US. So Tatiana, over to you. Tell us what you've been up to. Why have you disappeared? What are adventures from the road, literally, and what's going to happen next week?
You got it. So let's start with sharing a little bit of an adventure from the road here. So just turning my camera into what I have been riding for a while. Okay, so just I want to be clear. I'm not the driver. I am in this photo, but my husband and I took a road trip all around from Pennsylvania to South Dakota and back and then to North Carolina. So we have just been traveling so much in really cool vehicles, and what a memorable and fantastic experience that I had. So I wanted to share one little quick photo so I can show you that really cool trike. But if we were starting a session together, whether it was virtual or in person, but if you guys were actually coming to my house, the first thing I would do is I would offer you a cup of coffee. And it's funny because behind the scenes, Mr. Camera Junkie came up and Mr. Camera Junkie gave me this mug. So it's just so funny that I had this ready and I wanted to share with you. But I am a firm believer in the concept of hygge, which is this Danish term for comfortable, cozy, welcoming spaces. And that is how I strive to create my sessions, whether it's a workshop with educators or in the classroom with the students. So I can't offer you guys an actual cup of coffee, but what I can do is give you a different type of invitation and invite you to participate with me. So I've actually got an interaction on StreamAlive that I wanted to share with you guys. And the question is very, very simple. So if you guys can put it in the Zoom chat, it is active. And Martin, our voice of reason in the background, has just popped it up on screen for us as well. Thank you, Martin. The question is, in one word, what makes you feel welcomed into a live session, whether it's online or face-to-face physically? What is the thing that makes you feel welcomed? And we're seeing the responses coming in already. So smiling. So this is a nonverbal communication signal. Noise, being invited. So the actual invitation, which is a word invitation, being included, and talking is another one. I agree with a lot of these for myself, like being acknowledged, being invited is something that makes me feel very welcome too. And so while I can't offer you an actual cup of coffee, inviting folks to join us by having them express themselves is like a form of digital invitation, digital hospitality, or in-person hospitality. So these are the kind of things that I wanted to show, not just talk about. And yeah, Martin put also being named. So I agree with you, Martin. That actually makes me feel like when someone says my name, it's like Dale Carnegie said it in his book, like, well, the sweetest sound to any human being is the sound of their own name, being acknowledged in a positive way. So I am with you on this part. And so I think that starting our sessions is important to help people feel welcomed. Now, I know the way a lot of you guys start your sessions, even the way we started our session today was with some music. Before anything launched, there was music. Thought and preparation went into that. Martin put a lot of time into preparing that image, and it took a lot of coordination. So we've got that part of it going as well. So I'm going to pause our interaction here. It's the beauty of StreamAlive. We can pause that and just come back to us here back on screen to chat a bit about, in addition to music, so a lot of us will use a countdown timer to give people that signal to get ready that it's coming. What other things, before I share a bunch of the stuff that I do in my classes, what are some of the things that you guys do to launch your own sessions? So if you want to share one or two things, because obviously I know you guys do a lot more than that, but what are some of your favorite things to help people really launch that session powerfully and memorably? So we can kind of start a library of ideas here by going around and sharing. So John, I'll start with you. If you could share with us first, what's one thing that you do to really kick off your classes, your sessions in a memorable way?
Well, before I do with my classes, since I've been technically out of the classroom for a number of years, I'm going to talk about what our park rangers do with their electronic field trips. And that's to make sure there's action and movement happening on the screen, whether it's them doing it. The teacher in these electronic field trips is usually in the classroom, and now they're going to the show. And they used to just, like some meetings, nothing's happening. It's silent. There's nothing. I explained to him, if you go into a room and everyone's sitting there and not saying anything, you actually think you walked into somebody's funeral. So you need to make sure that there's something happening, whether it's noise from the animals, them chatting back and forth. So to make sure that the students feel that they're entering into something that's going to be engaging and fun.
Absolutely. I love the way that you phrased it with movement and action, that something is happening, something is going on, because that gave me the complete opposite feeling of stagnant, still. There's nothing wrong with being still, but when it comes to starting, we need to have that movement. I agree with that philosophy. All right, Neil, over to you. What's a memorable way that you launch your sessions?
I always start my shows with music. As you can hear in the background, I'm just playing this sort of chill out music because I don't like silence. Oh, chill out. There you go. I've got a little chill coming in there. Let me just turn off my captions 1 second. I got some trigger words going on there. So yeah, I always like to have something playing in the background where it's a little bit, just relaxing everybody and so on. And then just asking people questions so they can just pop up their questions or comments or thoughts or something like that into the chat, because people love to see their own sort of name pop up and things like that in the sessions. But music is my first love, and that's what I start all my sessions with.
I'm totally with you on the music part. I want to come back to that because I also want to say you totally could have played off that whole cat thing as part of launching memorably, because that is actually quite memorable to see that pop up on your screen.
I have to agree, it was perfect.
Oh my God. Oh gosh.
And there we have it.
I love it. I love it.
I'm known for my dad jokes. That's how I start my classes when I do my classes.
You and I would be friends instantly if we were sitting in the classroom together. If you made that kind of joke, I would be the one laughing hysterically because I love corny jokes. I just can't. I just think they're way better than any other kind of jokes. But
you'd
Neil,
be one of two people in my class with 100.
I know. Like I just love corny jokes. I can't help it. But Neil, I always play music in my classes too, in person or virtual. And I actually ask my students, and some semesters it goes really well. Other semesters, it's kind of a flop, but I always share a playlist and ask them to contribute songs that they would want to be a part of that so that they feel like they're, and some students love it. Some, I just ask that it be like the clean version of the song is all my only request. But being able to get their musical tastes, and then throughout the semester, every beginning of class, starting that way until it's go time, and then I like to start right on time. But yeah, music is a powerful starter as well. So Lux, how about you? And then we'll head over to Saeed and Martin. If you have any ideas, put it in the chat. We'll share them too.
Yeah, I think what Neil was saying about having a lot more questions. When you do, when you're doing a pitch or a conversation with someone, then the normal thing is the golden rule is talk less and listen more, right? But by default, when we go to a one-to-many scenario, when you're presenting to a room, we often go to the talk more, listen less, because it's just that the mechanics are sometimes difficult, right? And while I have an admittedly biased view to this, I found it time and again when we do our own sessions that the more I shut up, the better the session goes. And I use that a lot more in the beginning to literally read the room, right? So I'm biased with some of our features because I see time and again in sessions that whether you ask people or don't ask them, they're going to type where they're joining from, right? So that is a natural inclination, and I think it's rooted in the sense of identity, because we identify with the place we are from, the city we are from, where we live, whether it's hot or cold outside, because it's a very tribal thing if you think of it. So I literally lean into that because it also gives me a few minutes in the beginning when we're waiting for the room to fill up, and you don't want to penalize the folks who are punctual and are there in time by saying, hey, let's wait a couple more minutes for everybody else to join. So I default to using the map in the beginning and just putting a map out there, asking people where they're joining from, have little dots pop up. And now we also have the time and weather over there, which just allows us to acknowledge, when you tell people, I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you, it kind of changes the shape of the conversation. So I like to start with that and then meander into a sense of identity and things, but I'll pause there and let you pass the baton to Saeed.
Yes, but before I kick over to Saeed, I just want to share the StreamAlive interaction one more time because I love the three-dimensional globe when we share it like this too. And I think you're right. To this day, every educational session that I've been to all summer, and I probably went to 12 different educational seminars this summer. People will say, "Where are you from?" And it just goes by so fast, and so many people. And I will notice the people who are my part of the world, like try to, oh, anybody over here in Pennsylvania or New Jersey area. But when we can show it on the map, it does have a more personal touch and being able to connect with others. And so I will start with a question like this: where are you right now? But my students, I know for the 99% of them are all going to be in New Jersey. Most of them are in-house, whether it's virtual class or not, they're going to be in New Jersey. So that's not that exciting, but we can distill it down to hometown. Or I like to ask this next question, which is, where do you wish you were? So that will be the next, I will ask, instead of where are you right, where are you joining from? I will say, where do you wish you were? Or I'll ask, if it's a group of educators, I'll say, hey, where did you do your undergrad? Just we can ask a lot of place-based questions with the map. That's more than just where are you joining us from Hogwarts. Neil's New Zealand, Hogwarts. Wait, Neil, are you really in New Zealand now?
No, you're asking where we wanted to go.
Oh, gotcha. Of course. Oh my gosh.
Neil is following the brief. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Neil. You are actually listening. Thank you very much. I'm not even.
No worries.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Martin. Martin is a fabulous producer behind the scenes too. I love it. And I do want to say that you mentioned that one of the things you liked to do, Martin, and I know that you are actually in Edinburgh, but one of the things that you like to do is to open up with a little laugh for people. I know that's something you had said that earlier. You wanted to open up with a little laugh, which I think that's pretty cool. And by the way, Martin, I was in Edinburgh. I want to say it was Virginia. I can't remember what state, but I truly thought of you when I drove through a town called Edinburgh. And I was like, wait, no way. But anyway, Saeed, over to you. When you plan to launch your sessions, what's some of your favorite 1 or 2 ways to go about it?
But I don't like the passive aggressiveness in the word plan. I don't plan my sessions. But to your question, what happens before the session, I think. So we talked about music and all the other things. I all agree on them, of course. But that's not when the session starts. I mean, people join just as we did today, if it's like a Zoom session or even if it's a live stream, a few minutes early. And they can either look on the whatever Zoom has to promote at the moment, this waiting room, that's what I'm talking about. Or you can start there with the experience and make something that gives people actually like a sneak preview on what's happening or a little welcome message. You can start the music there already. So if you have like a little video, show whatever you like. It always depends on what session you are running. And so people are already not hyped up is the wrong word, but maybe in the right mood already before they actually join, or they're already like curious because they are seeing some things there. So yeah, start if you are someone who plans stuff, right? Then that's somewhere where you should start the planning and make this also part of the experience. Make it branded, make it fun, or make a little quiz question that you can pick up later when the session actually starts, etc., etc.
Yes. And you said my favorite word in all of this, which is experience. So for me, it's not a class, it's not a lecture, it's a learning experience. And that is exactly the approach that I take. And I think in knowing you guys in the room too, you think of it that way as well. Planning an experience. So setting the mood, setting the tone, and branding it in a way that represents you well, which is really great. And I know, Saeed, you do a wonderful job of doing that. And so for me, for my classes, that means I've got to make sure I'm there early, right? Because if you see a professor or a facilitator or the workshop leader or the CEO coming in last minute and is like kind of frazzling, that sets a different tone than me getting in early, preparing the room, setting everything up so that when students come in, I can actually say hello and the music is playing and there's a smile, and I can't guarantee that. I mean, I drive from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to teach, so sometimes things happen, but most of the time being able to get there early is a huge part of creating a memorable experience for me. And we talked about names, but one of the things that I do for my in-person classes, this is easy online because Zoom or whatever platform has our names visible right here, right? But we don't get that. When we're in person. So I have these very inexpensive name tent cards. And so every one of you would be in my class and you would grab a marker, put your name on it, and put this in front of you until everybody in the class has memorized names. Obviously, this does not work for 100 people classes, but it works for my size classes, between 25 and 30 people. And everybody's got their names showing, so that when John references a comment that Lux made, he doesn't say what he said. He says, Lux mentioned this and I want to add to that. So being able to call each other by name from the very beginning is an important part for me of creating a memorable learning experience right from the start. And just having that, setting that tone with folks, I think works really well. So what do you guys think about using first names right away with people? If it's appropriate, some people with titles is a little bit different conversation, but first names being appropriate. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I always
you're
wanted
saying
to
name calling is a great start. Did I get it right?
Yes, see, if
lost in
only I could
translation?
be as witty as you, Said. If only I could be as witty as you. That is exactly what I'm saying. Name calling is the right strategy here.
and someone with a weird name saying that to us. That's all I want to say. But, no, for me, I think knowing people's names is important. And calling students by name does make a big difference. And I've used the wheel with names on it because people like to see their name, as you said. But when I was at Chico, I was running our instructional technology program, and we talked a lot, both K-12 learning, but adult learning and what they expect. And I think the one thing that I really like from what you just said is greeting people as they come in. And that's something you could do physically. When they come in, if you're not setting up all your stuff in front of the classroom, but you're at the door when they come in, that's a real welcoming thing. We did a fair amount of research on our campus and with some of my fellow faculty is that how important that first class is. If you have a semester-long class, it is the behavior that happens in that first class, which is going to set the classroom culture for that class, because even in the same university, there are very different classroom cultures. One of mine was that I had a university, we'll rename nameless, that a lot of people, it was Professor Idelson or Dr. Idelson, and I wanted to just go by John, and that changed the culture. I could be called by my first name and gave me permission to call them by their first name. In some adult learning sessions, that got me in trouble. I was going to companies where it was Mr. Everything. You never called somebody by their first name. And then I went to other companies that didn't ever use a first name at all. It's, hey, Idelson, what's going on? So getting to that culture is real critical.
I hear you. And I also agree about the first name for myself. I'm just more comfortable. I've tried it the other way to be more formal, and it just never feels as good. So for me, Tatiana, you are welcome to call me Tatiana. Some students can't do it. It will always be Professor Rodriguez, and I respect that, but they know my preference and my invitation is first name. I just feel so much more comfortable that way too, John.
My students got good at calling me by first name, but one day I was walking down the hall and two students behind me were going, I got an appointment with Dr. Idelson. I said, wait, you called me John in the office, in classroom, and Dr. Idelson went out of class? They said, no, we're referring to your son when he comes home from middle school and waits in your office. We have appointments with him because he helps us with our coding.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a story right there. Wow, very cool. Thanks for sharing, John. And I cut somebody off. I'm not sure if it was Lux or Neil, but somebody was going to say something.
I think Neil was about to say something. Yes.
It was just me, and no problem. It was just about the name thing. I do think it's really important to actually call people by their first name, and I've seen many workshops where they'll, and especially if they're on Zoom and things like that, and there's a lot of people flying by. in the chat, and they'll just rattle off first names. Hi John, hi Roy, hi Neil, whatever it might be as they're going through, which is quite nice. I do remember though just a similar story when I used to work in government. I made the mistake of addressing a gentleman, let's say in the military, by their name and not their title, and I was promptly told off never to do that again. So you have to I was like, I don't work for you. But anyway, that aside, and not wanting to get into trouble, I think it's important really to maybe ask people as well what they prefer to be addressed by,
100%.
which is good. But at the end of the day, I think it's much more personal if people do talk and ask about their first name and address people by their first name. But now John's mentioned that, we have to call him. Could we just call you Dr. John or Professor John? I mean, what would
I've been called Dr. John. I've been called lots of things.
Well,
I've been called worse.
Yeah,
clearly.
but the segue that I wanted to do is, when Tatiana said that was a nice story, and that's one of the things I use as a starting of a class, whether it's a fable or it's a story, because we're starting the story of our class. And so I think that's also a tool that I use when I start my sessions.
That is actually the real reason why I brought the ball today, John, is because I wanted to share that as an opening strategy. Because especially for those of us, I know, for example, Saeed, you run series workshops, or Neil, you do weekly live streams. So we have ongoing relationships. Like in the course, I've got 14 different sessions that I'm getting together with these students over the course of our time together. And so having lots of different strategies is the best way. And just one day you have your welcome music. And then for me, attendance is the first couple of minutes always. And then I do something called retrieval practice in the beginning to get them to recall information from our last session. But I can put the retrieval practice on pause, and I can just start with a session. And this is a baseball that was signed by, you can't see it too well, bring a little closer, signed by Mariano Rivera from the New York Yankees. He was nicknamed the closer. And I got a chance to meet him in person. And back in my photography and video days, I photographed him. And he had this great session that day that he spoke. I remember this much of what he said. I know it was good and I loved every minute of it, but I remember nothing except the one story he told. And the story he told was about when he was a boy in Panama, and I was born in Costa Rica, so it was next door to Panama. So I remembered that right away. But he told how he grew up with no means financially, and he couldn't even own a baseball glove. He couldn't even own a glove. So when they would play baseball, him and his friends, they would find cardboard. And even cardboard was hard to find, right? It's not like us where we have cardboard, we're trying to get rid of it and it's in excess. They would take a piece of cardboard, cut out a rectangle so that their fingers would fit in it, wet it down to shape it to their hand, and that was their baseball mitt. I never forgot that story. Like, it resonated so powerfully with me to hear him say that. So I like to share that story with other people as well, because it's what I remember. It's the only thing I know I can go back to my notes and recall the other stuff he said, which was very valuable, whatever the topic was. But the story is what stayed with me, even though it's been a number of years now. And so absolutely, we can start our sessions with a powerful and memorable story that would have meaning and relevance to our audience, our people. So I 100% agree that storytelling is mega powerful. And so we can collect those stories. I digitally collect the stories so that I don't forget, because I'll go through all these neat things and then just blank out later. And so I have a digital library of like stories I will use one day, and then I will tag them by some type of a topic that I can use to pull up. So do you guys have a way to collect stories? Do you share stories? Do you find them powerful? How do you guys feel about stories as a way to start your session memorably?
Gosh, Tatiana, I'm wondering if you've been peeking into my laptop or what, because
oh yeah, Tina shared everything with me, Lux. Hello, Tina, by the way.
Because my weekend project, interestingly, is, I won't bore you all with all the details. I'll save it for another conversation another time. But I'm actually launching a workshop in the second week of September on Maven. And this is on, so the topic is in very interestingly story mining, because I see there are a lot of amazing workshops and I've attended a few of them which help you with storytelling and telling stories and giving shape to narratives. But when I speak to friends and colleagues and others, very often I find that they have this treasure trove of stories that they don't even realize they have, right? So sometimes a few nudges to help people discover the stories that have been sitting under the hood is kind of all you need if you have an interesting structure to it. And also, I've been creating these resources and pages which are like forms of Excel sheets in a way. I hate to use the term, but I think it helps it give it structure and chronology to stories. So coming up with a method on how people can recall the stories that they already have has been something that I've been focusing on. So spot on and totally with you on stories and all of it. Before I let others respond on that too, one quick question I was having as we're talking about the names thing, right? It's something I've struggled with, and I'd love to know how you guys do it. We had some amazing comments coming in the stream from Tech Troublemaker, for example, right? So when you have something like a stream happening like this, what do you do with names when you want to acknowledge them? Do you just call people by their handles if it's something like that? I'm just curious how all of you do it. Do you actually read out the handle? And sometimes it applies to Zoom as well, where you have a different name that people have put out there. Do you call out those names? I mean, how do you handle names that are not always first names? And I genuinely struggle with that at times.
I would like to, first of all, I like the way Neil does it in his live streams. And I mean this seriously, and take it if you know, or if you did it unconsciously, I don't know. But if you see something in live streams, you always ask or share your real name if you don't mind. Something like this in a really friendly way for people where you don't know them. And most people you probably know because they are recurring, so you know the handle and who it actually is because they are friends or other people. But just two other quick things. One is if you talk about like a meeting. The name part, that is also a cultural thing that is different depending who is on your audience, because I'm from Germany, right? So we have the formal you and the informal you. So, right, calling people by their first name is for us is something very American. If I don't know you, why should I call you like by your first name? So it always depends who is in the room and who you are talking to first get like permission, or so there's non-funny German like sayings. Oh, you can I say you to you? No, because in German there's two different versions, but in English doesn't make any difference. Like vous and tu in French. I think in Spanish it's the same, right? You have like different ways to address people. So that's one thing. Just before you do that, make sure you are in the right setting where everybody's comfortable with being called by their first name. And the other thing is just a quick joke I wanted to share, which is, I've been called a lot of things in my life, but being called on the phone is the worst because it's not 1996 anymore. And I had to be called on the phone, just saying. Over to you, Neil.
Well, before you go to that,
introverted response there. It's like, don't call me, don't send me voice messages.
Go ahead, John. Sorry, you go ahead first.
No, I was just going to say, you notice what I did here. This is not necessarily a class. You won't see it in the show here, but in my Zoom name, I put down, this is the good-looking one. When we had staff meetings, we would all change our name to our mood for the day. And
that's
that was
a great
thing.
activity, John. That's a great activity. I've had my students change their names to whatever they wish their performer name was, like their rapper name or their entertainer name. So I like that. Changing it to your mood is another great activity we can add to the list.
It'll be constantly dark then if it's for me. No, I was just gonna reiterate what Saeed was saying, and what Roy, Tech Troublemaker, because we know Roy, said on the actual chat, that it's always good to ask the people's names if you don't know, and sometimes the handles in the YouTube handles, it's hard, with my old eyesight, sometimes it's not easy to read as well, and then I'll get it wrong, I might pronounce it wrong, so it's always nice to find out who's the real person behind the handle if they want to be known by that, of course, or we'll just call them by the handle. But it is a tricky one because there's lots of people, when you're picking your YouTube name, not everybody's got the YouTube real name in there, so they have to pick a cool fancy handle, and it's not always.
But also, Neil, YouTube did like this weird thing like a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, where they removed the name. Before it was, for me, it was always Saeed the facilitator, and I can change it how often I like, so I can put like my real name in it. Now it's just the handle. So even if you knew me before, now you only see my handle, and who is this guy again? And if you don't see the name, I mean, if you have a large audience, usually you cannot remember like every name. I don't know why they did this, but for some reason they changed it, and now it's like really, really odd.
With live streaming,
thanks for nothing.
With live streaming, I feel like, hey, they chose the handle. They have no problem being called by their handle. That was a self-selected thing. My concern comes in when I don't know how to pronounce something. I wish I could speak all the languages in the world, but I obviously don't. So if it's not English, Spanish, or French, I will probably or even Romanian, because it's a Romance language, I can do. But if it's outside of that, for example, Asian-oriented names, I will struggle with pronunciation, but I admit that, and I will say to my students, I want to learn how to say, please just be patient with me so I can learn how to properly say your name. And I always ask my students, this is your first name, this is your last name. Is there something else you would prefer to be called? Because that is also a possibility. So I just like to do that with inviting, but just reiterating what Saeed said too. And John, you mentioned it as well. We do need to know our people, but when we're the person in charge, we can set the tone that we're open to being called by our first names or whatever you're choosing. But absolutely, we need to be respectful of the culture, especially with working with people around the world. First name, American style, is not always the right approach, right? We want to just know who our people are.
But Tatiana, because you asked for, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Because you asked about stories, just fun, like short fun story about that. I've been on a live stream once with, someone. I'm only like in the comments, and then I was on screen for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And he chose to call me by my name, which is a very nice thing. But he called me Sadid the whole time. And where did you get the additional letters from? And you could have just asked me, or just don't do it. And, and I also, I'm a nice guy, and I don't get that bothered. But after the 8th time in like 7 minutes, okay, enough with my name, or get it right, please. One of these two options, because so
then there's
if you choose to do it like this this often, then at least check in. And I mean, my name is only 4 letters. I don't know why you feel the pressure to add letters at the end, at the beginning, just to make it sound even more difficult. I don't know.
Just giving you a little more impetus.
Sometimes go ahead.
Oh, real quick, sorry, just to tap on the whole story thing that you mentioned. So Vishen from Mind Valley, he's renowned for keeping this book of stories as well. So over the years, he's collected all these little anecdotes, these stories, these things from his real life that he uses on his workshops, his TED Talks, and everything else. So it's really important, I think, if you've got an interesting life and some really cool stories, then just to keep hold of them, because it's a great way to sort of start a conversation. And as our friend Jan would say, it's a great icebreaker, right? It's a great way to sort of kick off.
No, he wouldn't.
Actually, he would never say that. Icebreaker. He is dead set against the term icebreaker.
Ice maker.
Ice melter. I think he calls him now. Ice melter.
What does he call himself now? Sorry. It's the ice melter, isn't it?
The ice melter.
I need to clip this for Jan.
Oh, actually, I just got his book. Since we just came back from traveling on Saturday, I have his book in a box, and I'm gonna open it today. But I do want to say, because I know Martin was kind enough to give us the heads up that we have about 3 minutes left. So want to do a quick speed round of other great ideas, because we've talked intro music, visuals on screen, the waiting room, welcoming, invitation, being ready, being there ahead of time, using first names, so many different ideas that we've all contributed, using stories. Name tags. We can do this virtually. We could also do this in person. So I have the virtual We Connect, the physical name tag cards. So everybody knows what a name tag is. These come from Chad Littlefield, and he's got questions on the name tag. So a bunch of different ones. So this one, and I give students choice. So they'll come into the room, pick a name tag, and there's lots of different things. Like this one says, I love to talk about blank. This one says, I'm curious about. The other one says, I have been thinking a lot about, or I'm trying to solve the challenge of. So you can make your own, you can write your own questions on name tags. You can do a virtual version of this as well for on screen. Like you can use a Miro board or another type of whiteboard to be able to do similar things in person as well as virtually. And I've got a ton of other ideas and activities and things, but I'll just share, if you guys could all see my space right now, but I will share just 2 more quick things. We'll wrap it up. When in my public speaking class, when we talk about fear and confidence, I will give them physical emotion wheels so that we can talk about this. I can show it on screen. If it's a virtual class, they can download a copy of it. So there's always in-person and virtual equivalents. The other thing is, so back from my photography and video days, I have like a bajillion trillion different pictures that I've taken. So I will lay these out and people can pick them, just whatever speaks to them that day for whatever reason, whether it's their mood, whether it's just something they're connecting to in the images. So these are all photos that I've taken and kind of giving them a purpose or a repurpose when I went to Pompeii, so people will pick one and then they can talk about what was it that resonated with them with that image. I can also use them when we're doing the storytelling lessons and connecting things, pictures. So don't forget about lots of physical things that you can use in your environment to help launch an activity. But I think the key message that I wanted to share with you all is that the beginning of something is really powerful, and we should not throw away that opportunity by starting with housekeeping items every time. I think that we can start with something really powerful, meaningful, and engaging to help people feel welcome and to start actively participating. Like active learning is huge for me, and creating that learning experience that we've been talking about. So I will kick that over to you, Lux, because it is time to wrap up.
Thank you. And by the way, I keep looking behind because I recently picked up a copy of Jan Kek's book and I was trying to see where it is. And it's just bugging me that I can't find it, though I know it's somewhere behind me right now. So it's one of those.
The orange one.
It's the big orange one, that's right.
It's the big orange one.
Yeah, it
Mine's
should be
on
orange.
Kindle, so I have to show it in the
Thank you.
digital world, but there you go.
There it is. Hey, so we should do a book club if you have it too, Lux.
We absolutely should. And since you mentioned Miro, Said, I'm going to request you to, in the restream thing, if you're up for it and you have it handy, please do share your upcoming Miro workshop. I've read the description. I think it's fascinating. Anyone who wants to make Miro fun and games, I'm probably butchering the description, but I know you have a fantastic workshop coming that you should absolutely let people know about. Yeah. So that will be in the restream link. But folks, feel free to, if you have any last lines you wanted to say before we wrap up. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to next week. I know we again don't have a topic for next week. Thank you, Said, for that. We don't have a topic for next week, but we will figure it out and chat about it. But this was fun as always. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. See you soon.
Pleasure. Thank you.